No, I couldn't talk to any girl in the street. I couldn't talk to a girl in a bar or club unless I was wasted.
Okay.
And so I had to, and then by the time I got around to what's now called day game, I didn't call it that. It wasn't called that.
How did you make it up by yourself, or
Well,
like,
I
because
mean,
we all have our story of how we discovered it, kind of,
yeah.
but maybe you didn't have to discover it.
Well,
How
yeah. I mean, there was. All right. Well, I could tell you. All right.
Yeah.
Well, there was obviously every guy wants to meet women, right?
Yes.
So now it's become more of a there's more systems and processes, and it became even an industry, so to speak. But it wasn't then. But there was always some guy somewhere in the histories of time, and there was some naturals around meeting girls at coffee shops. We just didn't know them.
Mm-hmm.
But one day, I was in an acting workshop, and in rolled a guy that looked like Clint Eastwood in about his 50s, who came in from Beverly Hills, and he said, I'm gonna do real estate out there, but I'm gonna produce my first movie, and I want you to be in it." And I said, and I was like, "All right, let's do it." He said, "I'm driving down to Miami tomorrow. Can you go?" And I said, "Yeah, because I quit my job. So let's go." And I'm on
It sounds like
unemployment.
Wolf of Wall Street
Yeah.
kind of vibe.
So I jumped in his 1970 something Jaguar.
That happened?
Yeah, this
Jeez.
happened. And we
Okay.
drove down to Miami.
All right.
And
So you were just infected by his charisma.
one of the most charismatic
All
human
right. Probably a
beings.
sociopath.
No,
No? All
no.
right.
His name was John Garrett,
Okay.
now since passed,
Okay.
right? He wasn't a sociopath, but he was uh, so charismatic he could get people to do anything, but
Wow.
he would hardly follow through at the end. That was
Okay.
his downfall.
Mm-hmm.
But nonetheless, what he was a genius at was meeting people and anywhere and everywhere, and that's why he became friends. We'd walk down the street, and he would play the fool, and he would just start talking to girls. Now
Mm-hmm.
he was in his 50s, handsome, but he had all the confidence and charm to turn on any girl, 20-year-old, this that.
Wow.
Then this is too early, early 2000s, going into the Whole Foods in the
Yeah.
aisle 4. I couldn't believe what I was seeing, right? And I said, I just noticed he would do it, but he wouldn't show me how to do it,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't know how to show me how to do it, but
Right.
he just had fun having my energy there, gave him the confidence to do it, or gave him like
Wow.
I was like his wingman or something. I
Yeah.
didn't know it, but that's what was going on. So, but I was watching him, and I just saw him doing this, and I was like, wow. And then we would go into like a coffee shop, and he'd tell some hot young girl, "I'm making this movie. Da, 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 da. We need someone to run, be my, director of this or whatever." And then
Yeah.
so all of a sudden, some girl give up her whole life to working on this movie for a month.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
it was like this kind of, crazy charisma. Yeah.
Madman.
Yeah, madman.
All right.
But
But they're
nonetheless,
inspiring.
he didn't. And we actually, because then being around him would give me some extra confidence, and we actually met girl. I started to learn a little bit. Time went by. That movie was never finished. I have actually, he died, and someone and his family gave me all the tapes of the movie. I have it at home. Maybe one day I'll finish it. So anyway, I then spent some years by myself afterwards,
Okay.
and just
So
starting to.
that was a shifting moment for you because you realized, oh my God, I don't have to drink and I don't have to be this famous actor to get girls. I can literally just talk to them at Whole Foods.
Yeah, and I can
So
just
he
walk
gave
down
you
the
that.
street. Yeah.
It often, like, it's kind of crazy thinking back for me. Obviously, it was different because YouTube was around by then. I saw
Yeah.
some infield videos, so that's what
Yeah.
gave me the idea. But then trying out alone, even though I knew there's people somewhere doing it, I was still freezing up when I tried. And
Yeah.
then only when I really met James, Tony back then, Liam in real life, hanging out next to them, walking down the street next to them, seeing them approach, then it was like, then it clicked for me as well. So it really is crazy how you kind of need, even though the internet is around now and you can watch videos all day long and you see that you kind of need somebody next to you to really get that shift, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like standing next to someone who has a really good physique and you're like, I should go to the gym. It's kind of like,
Yeah, and it's not just anybody, right?
yeah.
Like, those guys you just mentioned are really like, pinnacle, the pinnacle.
Yeah.
So it's like there there's a whole story we can talk about is that you found yourself next to those people in a very determined way. And in some way I wanted to find myself next to someone like that my whole life, and there it was seen to me. Yeah, so being around, having someone, and I think that is a big part of the coaching. Like a lot of times I noticed over the years when I was coaching, I would meet different people that never saw someone like I saw that guy. And then
Yeah.
they'd see me be like that. And then they'd be like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. It was
Yeah.
simply like that. I
Yeah.
didn't know you could do that.
Yeah. Somebody
Yeah.
just gives you permission to do it.
Yeah, it's permission. And
Yeah.
then you have to give yourself permission,
Yes.
which a lot of guys don't.
How can you give yourself permission?
Well, I think you have to say, hey, I give myself permission to play the fool, to go outside of my comfort zone, to not be like people say, oh, that's not me, to explore who I am beyond what I know. So when there is no, there's not me. You have a desire. I want to date this very attractive women. I want to date more women. I want to certain kinds of women to see me as attractive, and you have to align with your desire. And one of the most important things you can do in this life is break free from that egoic mind that's telling you you're not enough, that now's not the time, that she's not enough, whatever it is that's keeping you defined in a box. To break free from that, every time the wall comes up, to push through it.
Yeah.
That's one of the most important things a man
Yes.
can do in his entire life. And well, you and I were talking about this before,
Yeah.
which is
Because as you said, the wall break through, right? As a man, we have walls in so many areas of life, especially if you're a man who kind of comes from nothing, humble family. I don't know how you grew up, right? Me, nice, Austria, no complaints, but humble, right?
yeah.
No real mentors in that sense, in any like masculine area. I never had like, the uncle who shows me how to be at social events or how to light a
Right.
cigar, how to dress, or how to play soccer. I never had that cousin who works out a lot and takes me to the jiu-jitsu class, anything like that. I
Right,
kind of had
right.
to figure it all out by myself. And as you say, breaking through, you have to break through showing up to the jiu-jitsu class, pushing in the gym, keep going at that thing, or pushing through at your job, staying up extra late to get that job done, and so on. So there's a lot of different areas where you have to push through. And as you said, we talked about this earlier. Day game is kind of this, how we call it, approaching, seducing women, is kind of the ultimate breaking through. Because why are we doing all those other things anyway, right? Why do we want to build a physique? Sure, to feel good ourselves, but we want to impress someone. Why do we work extra hard in a job? To eventually have a higher value woman liking us. So it's kind of like, it is a bit of a shortcut, isn't it? To just go to the girl directly without all this other stuff.
Well, I think it's exactly what you're saying. Like, men have built empires, cities, or many men imagine that when I become rich, when I have the perfect body, when I finish my first book, when I whatever,
Get that role in that
yeah,
TV show.
in the future, I will be me. And
Yeah.
it's a disease of the mind that many men have, that all men have. And some men have succeeded in creating millions of dollars and this and that, and yet their social skills, and yet their interpersonal skills, and yet their dating life is in the toilet. It's completely disconnected. Yet, even as they were building all of that, all they wanted was that. So it's
And
not,
you would know because you're coaching those guys, because you're coaching in New York City, where
yes.
on paper, one of the most successful people on the planet are living, right?
Yeah, you get a lot of different walks of life in New York, and I've been what you call high-end coach, so to speak, for most of my coaching career. And yeah, so I've gotten the great fortune to work with some of the smartest people in the world in all different fields, and it's super cool. So no complaints.
So then tell me, yeah, sorry.
But the point, I just wanted to make that final point.
Yes.
So yeah, so I would know, and plus we've worked with all kinds of guys all around the world. So, but the point is most guys are avoiding the very specific thing. So you could even say, "Oh, John, you're an actor. Should I take an acting class to get good at this?" Hey, taking an acting class because you want to be an actor is a great idea. Taking an improvisation class to have fun, experience the joy of what it feels like to be in an improvisation is an amazing idea. It won't make you good at meeting women anywhere and everywhere. However, being good at improv will make you. If you will make you better at improving with women when you're meeting them.
Yeah.
But in a
Still
way,
gotta meet them.
yeah, I became a much better improvisational artist just by talking to women anywhere and everywhere all day long. That's when
Right.
I really got good at it. Well, and I was already good at that, but I really tapped into something then. But the point is directly. It's not a shortcut, it's a direct cut to exactly what you want to be. You actually align with who you are.
Yeah.
When I stand, and when you stand, and this is what I learned, and I learn anytime I meet someone new, is when I stand in front of someone else and I'm being authentic, I'm being real, I genuinely want to connect with you. There's a bit of vulnerability there. I
Yeah,
have to
you're
be
kind of
open.
looking into the abyss of
Yes.
it's scary.
Yeah, and when a beautiful woman that you desire, that you have that energy, like, adrenaline, when you looking back at you, that's when you see she looked like a mirror right at you, like, and
Yes.
she's like a mirror, and usually what it sends back to you is exactly what you're insecure about.
Yes.
You didn't work out for 2 months. You aren't rich enough.
Yeah.
Whatever you're focused, obsessed about, why the bullshit story, why you're not enough, she sends it back right at you.
Yes. Great teachers.
Great teachers, and she may not know that she's doing it.
Yeah.
She may not even be doing it.
Yeah.
You're doing it to yourself.
Yes.
And that's why it's not just like, that's why I never particularly, I understand we have to say, call things something, day game. Okay, there it is, done, right?
Yeah.
But it always felt so trivial and small to me. It's
Yeah.
a game.
Me too. It feels wrong saying.
Yeah, it's basically like the idea is we're meeting and connecting with people without penises. No, we're meeting and connecting with beautiful people and all people, anywhere and everywhere at any time. It's like what's saying is I'm present in my life, and I'm ready to meet and connect with people as I'm walking in the door and they're walking out, as someone's walking by me, or when I'm sitting down waiting for a train and someone's sitting next to me, and while I'm in line at the Starbucks. It's saying I'm more alive than I used to be. I'm not like we're all in this line, like we're going, when I get there, then I'll do the thing. And instead we're just in our head all the time. So it's basically saying I'm going to escape my mind. I'm going to be present more and more in my life, and I'm going to meet people along the way. So this process becomes very powerful in the sense that you become extremely present, developing presence, which presence means people look at you when you walk in a room. This guy's alive.
Yeah.
People say that. Like when we walk down the street, we had a group of guys that we met. They said, "Man, you guys are more." You could just tell.
Yeah, when
right
you
away.
walk in the room,
Yeah,
there's
something
something
more
more.
different about you. Yeah, because all our channels are on, man.
Yes.
We're like tuned on. We're
Yeah.
ready.
Yes.
So that's what it does for you in that sense. So it doesn't just make you good at meeting women on a street corner. It doesn't just it makes you good in your business. If you're a doctor, you're better with your patients. If it makes you learn to love yourself and accept yourself on a deeper level through the process of simply sometimes just wanting to get laid. I just want to have a girlfriend to talk to.
Yeah. I just want to have a romantic experience in a city and not just be a tourist.
just million people
Yeah.
walking by
Just
me.
have a lovely text from a girl. Like doesn't it feel amazing to get a lovely text
It
from a
is.
girl?
It is nice.
It's just like one text.
And we started the service, guys. We'll send a text to you. And you name
Sign up.
Whatever, yeah,
Text this number here.
99 cents a text.
It saves our businesses after the crypto crash. Some
That's true.
hotline.
Yeah, after the I'm taking a mental break from talking about crypto.
Okay, that's
Okay.
good.
But
Healthy.
we are going to talk about it. No.
Yo, 5-second reminder, I do have a Twitter account where I post my thoughts, my insights, some crazy stories. And if you want to follow Alex Leon Tweets, you can follow right now. Let's get back to the video.
So, well, that's beautiful and it's so true. And I guess that is the reason why I because I'm in it now for 8 years, which sounds crazy.
Yeah.
8 years ago I met James. 8 years ago I started doing approaches. 8 years ago I offered my skills in order to get coaching in return.
Yeah,
And
so
then,
what that is one of the more interesting stories. Like I said, you just said, I've met a lot of people, all kinds of people, but it's rare that you get to watch someone just start from just saying, "Hey, I
0%.
want to like zero, and I'm willing to,"
Yeah.
you were basically following the Gary V thing. Offer them something and
Yeah.
then get in the door,
Yeah,
right?
he was an
Yeah.
inspiration. Gary
Yeah.
Vee was, yeah.
Yeah. So you
I loved
can't.
seeing D-Rock on the street of New York last time I was there. I was like, D-Rock, and he was like giving me.
It's kind of synchronistic when
That
you
was
really think
crazy.
about your
Yeah.
beginning there, because that really kind of probably
It's
was
fucking
one of the
weird.
teachers that got you to
Yeah.
make that first. Hey guys, I'll come and
So weird.
I'll come and offer my services if I can. What? Just be around or what?
Sideline, I don't know if you guys know who D-Rock is. If you know Gary V, Gary Vaynerchuk, he's like this marketing guy, but he's all about content, putting out content. And then there was this guy, D-Rock, who was his camera guy. So not just his camera guy, he was his all-time 24/7 following Gary Vee around camera guy, which was special at the time. That was like 5-6 years ago, where vlogging, Casey Neistat was vlogging,
Oh,
but like a
right.
CEO having a guy constantly film himself, that was new.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I can be the D-Rock for James, because people want to know
Yeah.
what James's day is like.
Yeah.
And then last time when I was in New York, a guy crossed the street, and I was like, why do I know his face? And I realized it's D-Rock. And then the next day, I even texted you that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was thinking about D-Rock, and then literally I walked one block, I crossed the street, I looked to the left, and he's sitting on a moped. And I'm like, D-Rock! And he just does like this. And I was like, so weird. Like, I manifested him onto that moped.
And he had a girl with him.
Yeah, the hot
Yeah,
over.
wow.
Yeah, that's what kept me going, because I've been now coaching for 4 years, which is by far not as long as you've been coaching. But just like that beauty of that whole thing, and how incredible it is as a coach, in my opinion, to help people understand that and get results is what keeps me doing it. Because obviously, I'm a smart guy. I'm analytical. I like building things. I like building systems. I'm quite entrepreneurial. I could probably make more money with something else, right? I could build a trading system. I could hire 4 programmers who code algorithmic trading bots. I could
A lot of guys doing
go
that
into
scam.
logistics.
A lot of guys doing that scam.
I could go into drop shipping. Yeah, some of that's scams.
No, but
right?
I mean, no,
But I would crush it. If I would do it, I would be good at it. But I keep doing this.
But you can do that though.
Yeah, I don't want to,
Why are you doing this racket?
because it feels beautiful.
Well,
To do
does.
it.
Yeah, it really does.
What kept you going? How long you been coaching for?
I've been coaching literally for 15 years. I started in 2007.
Yeah.
By 2009, I got in the New York Times. That's when I had that beautiful, and that was,
I love those photos.
yeah, it was beautiful
Just so
photos.
good, yeah.
That guy won a Pulitzer Prize.
Wow.
Yeah, not necessarily for those photos, but just for all his photos.
So 2007, what got you into it? What made you realize? Because there's a lot of dudes who are good with women, right? Like the guy you mentioned.
It was as simple as this. I had found this social freedom.
Yeah.
And I was, I became obsessed somewhere in there. Somewhere in there, I found my own thing. In fact, just to go back to John Garrett, at one point I met up with John Garrett again. Over the years, we kept in touch. And I met up with again, and I started to show him all the things I learned, and I started telling him what I thought was wrong with his game. It was interesting.
Yeah.
Because I even said, he in some ways was like, to me it's an art I would never want to show anybody. He wouldn't teach me anything. I just realized though, from practicing on my own, what he was doing. He was making observations. He was a master of making observations.
Yeah.
He was a master observer, as all artists are, and that's what I became, a master observer, like master observer in aisle 4, and then boom, and then he was also, and this is important, he was a great storyteller. So, for example, he really, when I look back and I just think back, I don't have recordings of him doing it. I just remember we're sitting on Rodeo Drive. You know what that is? That's at like a coffee shop.
Yeah.
That's like in Beverly Hills.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
beautiful woman sits down over here. We're just sitting. I'm here. He's here. She's there. and he just throws a little lob, like a little fishing line off to the side. Next thing you know, he's hooking her in, and but he always had a story like about his interest and passions. Tennis, he loved tennis. Oh, he had his story about his interest and passions: tennis, filmmaking, whatever it was. He had his identity out. He always shared about himself, and it wasn't just like a shtick. He just had a fluidity about. He knew who he was, and he really was. It wasn't bullshitting. He was great at tennis. He was things he was really interested in.
Right.
And he also was interested in politics, and he was able to share it in a non-toxic way.
So he was an interesting guy.
He was an interesting guy who lived an interesting
Which is
life.
important, right?
Yeah.
Become an interesting guy.
Yes. He became an interesting guy. However, he had been rich, but he had lost all his money. But he managed still to keep his confidence and still be able to talk to it and not be knocked down by it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what was my point?
What made you realize that you not only are good at game, but teaching it other people?
Well, during this one time period, I got quite obsessed.
Yeah.
And I think in order to become great at something, you have to become a fanatic. And for a little while, or for maybe a long while, I was a fanatic. Like, I gave up all friends that weren't that were, like, if anybody was saying, hey, come to our dinner party with my girlfriend, do this, anything, and it also became for me a solo mission. Like, anything else was in my way. So I was hell-bent because I was getting high from it.
Yeah.
I was hell-bent on breaking through every social barrier. It started ever so small with me walking. One of my first approaches, like in the day, this is true. Back to Law and Order. I had an audition for Law and Order. I had a paper script. I had some shitty sales job I hated. I was in a suit that was ill-fitting, and I was standing and it was like hot, and I was sweating. I was standing out near this Law and Order studio, and I had the script, and I was looking at the lines. And some hot girl walked by, and I said, "Hey," like really, it's completely uncalibrated. "Hey, can you help me run these lines?" Yeah. And she literally giggled, said, "Nice line," and kept walking. And I was like, "No, I'm serious. I have a thing, And she just blew me.
Why do you think that one didn't
me.
work? Because you were not authentic, or?
I was authentic
Yeah?
because I just didn't. She did stop and give me basically told me she just thought I was trying to pick her up,
Right.
and I didn't have any way to transition or any map to go and then get her phone number, or I didn't have any idea what to do next.
Right.
I just threw that out there.
Just try to hook her. All right.
Yeah, but then became an idea, So I tried that a few more times, and then it just became like. If anyone ever studied B.F. Skinner, it's one of the. I studied it in college. Basically, B.F. Skinner is the guy who created behavior modification. You can modify your own behavior, right? So you can change people's behaviors, like quit smoking or get up and start doing push-ups or whatever it is. So I just took this approach of I'm gonna. And one of the techniques called fading. I want to fade myself past my anxiety, which was great. When I was approaching women, it was like a lot of resistance, So I would just start. Now it may seem boring, but no one told me how to do it. I was just like, how can I do this? So I was just like, just do small things. So it would be like, hey, I like your shoes. They're blue. Or I'd
Yeah.
probably be better at it than that. Or, well, that's the old dog thing. Anything,
Yeah.
your dog, whatever. Or, hey, can you tell me how to get to the Whole Foods? Or even though I lived a block away from it,
Yeah.
whatever it was, I would just do stuff like that and walk away. I wasn't even trying to get into a conversation. And then I would escalate the challenge. Like, okay, now I have to figure out a way to transition, and then I have to talk about myself. In the conversation, I have to ask about her. I have to give her a compliment.
And that was all without YouTube content or books.
No, this was just me
right? It's just
figuring
you
it out. Yeah. And then I came up with the idea that then there became this like 3-week period where I was like, I have to get rejected 5 times every day.
Right.
This is all in because I just kept
Yeah.
building it up.
Wow.
I just kept feeling the freedom, and
So you coached yourself.
I coached myself.
Yeah.
And I remember I remember this one very specific because I had 5-day rule, and I was a fanatic, and I was as disciplined as Alex would be.
Wow.
And it was like 11:59, and I was on a subway going back home to the Upper West Side, and there was a girl who wasn't that attractive. In fact, at this point, I was a health fanatic. I would only eat raw vegan. I was like perfect skin, shining bright, and there was this girl who looked like she just hung out, like a regular, American-looking, she eats like shit and is sweating beer out of her pores, whatever it was. I just remember looking at her, but I had one more girl to ask out. So we were talking. I could tell she didn't like me. I didn't like her, but I said, "Hey, we should hang out," and she was like, But I got 5 in a day. The point was, I remember that was a rough one too, because I really wanted to. But I was asking 5 girls out a day to get past my ego. Literally, I identify I have an ego problem. I'm afraid of being rejected. It's bullshit. It's a lie. And I just kept pushing myself past it with this power of now stuff. Eckhart Tolle, burn up your ego in the face of
Have you
rejection.
been into spirituality back then already?
Yeah, it was already in.
Okay.
I would actually
Was
say
that helpful?
that was everything. I'll tell you why. Because I had already read the book The Power of Now, no joke, audio. I used to drive around in sales job listening hundreds of times. It changed my life. And in that audio, in the book, he would say, like, the more you do this, the more your circumstances will change. There is no problem in the now. I didn't particularly like the circumstance. It was okay, I was driving around in the sales job, driving around in traffic in the city, and thinking, living paycheck to paycheck. And I used to think, well, I don't know how I'll get out of this, but I'm going to believe in what this guy's saying. And I kept doing it, and then I really became super present. And then I looked at approaching strangers as a way to be in the now. It's like, how do I practice being in the now? How can I bring the now by connecting with people? So what that did was give me a super objective. The objective is meet girl, get date, get laid, get girlfriend, right?
Yes.
The super objective is transcend your ego. So every time I say hi to her, just say hi. I've already won. I've transcended resistance. I've transcended that voice that tells me I'm not enough or whatever, tells me to be afraid. I transcended the feeling that's weighing on my chest, and I pushed through it. I am now more John Keegan than I was before, just one moment before. And that became my whole thing. And then I'm in the conversation, and there's a little voice saying, she's being nice. That's enough. Get out of here. One more time, I'll push
Do you think Eckhart Tolle would be good at picking up girls?
I bet you, he has found a way to attract beautiful people and things of all walks of life. I'm sure he would. If you've ever seen him live,
No,
I don't think he'd be running down any streets or anything. His presence is extremely powerful.
Okay.
For example, one time I saw him live at the Beacon Theater in New York. That's a big theater. Rolling Stones play there. It's a big place. And the room was the stadium. It's not a stadium, whatever. It's a theater. The theater was packed with people of all walks of life. It wasn't like some hippie conference or something. It was doctors. It was lawyers. It was me. It was you. It was you. It was all of us. He attracts everyone. And this little man, in like I don't know, almost like a Mr. Rogers sweater, came on the stage with a single old wooden chair, put it in the middle of the stage. That was it. In my mind, I remember that day, I was kind of anxious, and my mind was racing, and I just so happened that someone said I had an extra ticket, you want to come? And I came. And I sat in there, immediately my mind stilled, like still. Everyone's mind stilled. Every breath he took, we were with him. And then he would just laugh really weirdly, and you were just every laugh, like you never saw anyone so present in your life.
Yeah.
So and seduction means to bring in, to pull inward. He's a master seducer. Everybody was in.
Wow.
You see. Yeah.
Crazy. So, through that process of coaching yourself, I assume at some point you realized maybe that's how you... Was there like a... Because usually things have to get worse to get better. So was there maybe a time where you didn't have money and you're like, hey, maybe I should earn some money teaching other guys? Or what was your first client?
Well, yeah, no, that's a good question. The truth is yeah, I was... there was a year period where I had saved enough money, and I had quit my job, and it was dwindling. And then I realized, and I had already, working for other people and these corporations and things, it didn't, or any kind of job, it just wasn't my idea of who John Keegan was. I was going to be an artist. And the idea of me being an actor even is that I was going to be successful. I was going to have money and women, and everyone's going to love me and everything. This is what
Dangerous.
the idea what I was living wasn't that.
Yeah.
I was literally, I haven't talked about, I was living in a hoarder's lair. I lived in a cool neighborhood, but I literally had a room and a guy who hoarded. He had a big old apartment. I got this one room in there. It was like, like the movie Seven, bringing a girl back on the set of the movie Seven or something. And I did. No, I was running out of money, and a friend of mine said, "Why don't you teach guys how to do what you're doing?"
Right.
Because I would, like, at that time I was so obsessed. I could walk down the street and I would, like, get off on opening every table at the restaurant.
Wow.
I was just obsessed. It was like I just couldn't. I always felt like I never felt so free, and I was having so much fun that it was working. And I said, "Oh, I don't want to do that. I'm gonna be an actor and this and that." And he said, "Okay, well, how's that working out? Whatever." So finally, I did then just take his advice. And Craigslist was a thing. believe it.
Already?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I wasn't, like you, I wasn't very tech savvy at all. In fact, putting that on Craigslist was about as good as it was going to get. And I put a simple ad on Craigslist. It said something like, awaken to a new reality, learn to meet her anywhere and everywhere.
That's good copy.
Yeah, something like that. And the idea is that I'm going to teach people how to meet people in a conscious way. But I didn't know who was going to respond to such a thing. And I just called myself Awaken.
Oh.
That's
That's just as a nickname, Awaken?
yeah, Awaken.
Mr. Awaken.
Yeah, like that. Like, I didn't, because I just, like, it was all new to me, too. Like, am I creepy? Are they creepy? Who's creepy? Everyone thinks everybody's creepy, I guess. So I was like, so I put it on there, and somebody responded. And it was actually a cool guy
Wow.
who was a director of True Life MTV. Yeah, he wasn't trying to do a series on me, but he literally, that was his job.
Wow.
And I took him through
Again, a guy who you would think would have a lot of access to cool women because he's a director, MTV, right? I mean, all those dudes where you think they should have figured it out.
They should have figured it out, but he was still trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
And we took a walk through Central Park, and I that was like, I hadn't coached before and whatever. I was just like, went through there like a storm. He never saw anything like it. And then he said, "You shouldn't call yourself Awakened. You should call yourself Amazing." Joking around, right? It was like that. And then he gave it, and I said, "How much do you want?" I said, "I'll give me $100." That was it.
Nice.
That's how it started. But I remember that guy gave me that $100. I felt so good. I was like, I just came up with this idea. I walked through the park having fun, and this guy gave me
That's
$100.
crazy.
I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it. So that's how it started, very small.
Yeah.
And then it kept building. And then, because of the climate of, like, the pickup world was happening simultaneously, things like that, these guys were writing in these forums about me.
Oh.
And that's really, and then I wasn't writing in the forums. I had,
Yeah.
it's not something.
Wow,
I
so you had followers already. Like you have a little cult.
Yeah, a little cult started to happen in New York, and then guys would come to New York, be like, "Hey, I want to work with you," or this and that. I didn't even have a website, and then but somehow it was happening, and that could happen back then. See, that's before Twitter.
Must have been people
before
going like,
Facebook.
"There's this guy in New York. He's amazing. How can I reach him? I don't know. He doesn't even have a website." Makes it even more.
Yeah, and
kinda
and then one guy would hit one of those guys, and then he'd say, "Hey, I found this guy on this thing." These guys were in their own little thing.
Now we have to make like 10 TikToks a day to even get recognized by
I know,
one
all of
dude.
that. Isn't that- it's really true.
Wow.
Yeah, so I was just kind of like, it's kind of like there was a world before all that stuff, and I just happened to be, and was in anything. Like, my ex-girlfriend's a model. She was a well-known model before all of those things, and she still doesn't need them. But all the new girls have to be on that shit all day.
Yeah.
But, like, there was a world that actually was like a simpler world before, So anyway, long story short, I kept at it, and I never had to work for anyone ever again. So first, for me, that was my first real freedom.
Right.
Okay, I'm free. And then one day, some guy said, so that's how it started. And then over the years, I got better and better at coaching. And I could tell a million stories about how this happened or how that happened. But um, then I just, started to take all my spiritual things and this and that. And I came up with this idea of the awakened lifestyle. And then I realized there's all different kinds of people, and I'm really a master of it, making analogies, and I can communicate with anyone. And most guys didn't want to hear me talk about the spiritual stuff.
Right.
They just wanted to learn that.
Just show me how to get the
yeah,
pussy,
this is
like,
New
yeah.
York City. Like,
Yeah.
teach me, what I'm trying to do. You're a dating
Yeah,
coach, right?
yeah.
So I didn't even call myself a dating coach at first. I just didn't know how to define anything.
Right.
But the world told me this is what you are, and this is what we want. And then I just started focusing in on that more and more, and making a program that helps people change from the inside out, change their beliefs, change the way they feel about themselves, change the way they see the world, and then being able to create these new habits. So from the outside in, be able to break the ice, be able to have a conversation, and have a process and a system as simple as meeting and connect with women anywhere and everywhere. And connecting is the biggest part. Is like really making a connection where she feels great around you.
Yeah.
You feel great about you being you with her or any her. And then you also feel great about your dating set, how to be a date, how to, all those little things we deal with.
Which is such a different approach to the whole thing than how can I spike her emotions or show her I'm an alpha, right? It's like
Right.
me, her. It's like, because yeah, if the connecting part works, everything else but how do I escalate, or how do I, make her text me back, or what's the one text that gets a reaction? All that gets put into place anyway, right? If she feels a connection, if she feels better, literally that. If she feels better because you're there, everything else will follow. She will want to text you back. She will want to come on the date. She will want to touch you. She will want to go to the bedroom with you.
Yes.
Such a different approach.
Yeah, well, I mean that's one of the reasons why we connected the way we connected, but also why we're friends, because we're not those kind of guys. We can have, not that we're not displaying alpha behavior or whatever that is, but I mean, meaning we're definitely leaders of our own
Big
life.
dick energy.
Definitely big dick energy, no doubt. Both left-handed, by the way. Both
Interesting.
Leos,
Yeah.
August babies.
Yeah,
and
see that
left-handed.
ring?
Yeah, yeah. I don't have a lion ring, but
You want one? I got an extra one.
You have an extra one?
Yeah,
really?
my jeweler in Barcelona made me one. He made a mold out of mine.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if I ever lose that ring, I really want to have the same one again because I'm
Oh,
attached to
really?
it almost.
It's real silver?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so he made a mold. And
Should I
then-
try it on? Because I don't see this little ring I have. I like how small it is. I don't really
Yeah.
like big rings from my hands. Yeah. I mean, I guess I could push it over, but I'm afraid I won't be able to get it off. Yeah, like that. But well, that would look good, right? Yeah. Now, if we were one of those alpha guys, I'd be like, hey, I have a smaller ring here if you want a cock ring. Right?
Okay, interesting. What I'm curious about, how long you been coaching now?
15 years.
15 years.
I feel like I'm in a CIA experiment. It's still 15 years.
It's 15 years.
15 years.
It's-
Okay, it's been 2 years.
What I want to know,
Yeah.
because I've been in this space a little bit now,
Yeah.
self-help, self-development, personal improvement, dating, da da da. Every coach usually has to kind of like becomes good, coaches guys maybe one-on-one, but then he wants to do it all online because it scales better, right?
Right.
Because on the street, obviously it is the most efficient way to learn, in my opinion, right? Working one-on-one with a guy, or even in group workshops where there's a lot of personal feedback element, what like I do and you do. But obviously you can only coach one guy at a time.
Right.
And most coaches just then pump out online product after online product because it scales. You can sell many copies. What kept you going in the model you're still doing? You're still doing one-on-one in New York City on the street, grinding it out.
Grinding.
What kept you going for so long with that model?
Well, it's interesting. I enjoy it. I have a nice. I charge a significant amount in the sense that it's certainly doable for a lot of
Worth
people.
your time, yeah.
So I have it goes with my flow. It's my flow, you know, and so that really works for me and my personality type. It's really that simple. It's not really a business decision almost. It's like, okay, I have a nice flow that way. Clients flow to me every month. I get new clients, a lot of referrals, various channels. People find me. I connect with some people. So it's really just, it wasn't like a business decision. Now, I do have an online course, and it is important to have online courses, and people get a lot out of that too. But there is a lot to get from a YouTube video. There is a lot to get from taking on an online course, especially it has group support. But yeah, obviously working in the field with a coach that you trust, working with an amazing coach who gets it, who's coming from a value system that you appreciate, you know, and this is important because there's a lot of people that can you know, pick up and be a coach. There's really no barrier to entry. You know, the guy next door can say he's a coach, but does this person match my values? Does this person have beliefs that I want to embody? Is this person walking the walk? Can this person unlock doors for me personally right now where I'm at in my life so that I can experience life richer, fuller, deeper, so that I can experience the life I want to experience, so I can date the women I want to date, so that I have more options than I've ever had in my life. I mean, that's really what we're doing, and we really do it all the time for guys who are completely stuck in that area, to guys who have experience but they're not. They want to level up to anywhere you are. There's another room that you want to go into, and can this guy bring me into that? And can I trust that he'll do it, you know, like properly? And I can say after 15 years of coaching, I've been a great coach, and there's been times, you know, where when I look back, I was like, wow, I'm a way better coach now than I was obviously 10 years ago. Even though there was something, and there's something that was probably I had then that I don't have now. You know,
Right.
there's some little
A
thing,
little extra edge.
yeah,
or like,
something about me, you know.
Yeah.
But now there's so many things that I have now that I didn't have then.
yeah.
And
And
even
you've just seen it. Like you've been watching tens of thousands of approaches. You must have a sixth sense of what works, what doesn't.
Yes,
The
for
micro communication a girl gives, how she moves her body, what does that mean, all that stuff. Right?
100,000,000%.
Yes.
Yeah. And also though, but as a coach, I'm a person, and I think just as you know, and I am, and you are, and these kind of people that would be a coach would be someone that's on a path of evolution, meaning evolving, growing, expanding, letting go of that which does not serve me. Or my clients. So there's been things like certain dispositions I may have had over the years that weren't good for me being for my clients. So it's like I've become a way better coach because I've become a better person. I've become a better listener. I've become more attuned to their needs and what you know. Like when in my earliest days, I felt so driven to help a person change
Yeah.
that I just was like 100% engine, full steam. Like, and if they weren't keeping up, I would get frustrated. You know, like,
Yeah.
come on, I know what you can do. You know.
Yeah.
And then somewhere, and I realized, wait, this person came to me because they want to feel good about themselves, and not just get the result. You know, and I was the one talking about the process, the most important thing. You know? so I just like over time, and then I found that me changing that about myself and my coaching has made then does help the client embody the process more because it becomes a fun experience rather than a stressful experience.
Absolutely.
You know, which it already can be stressful because you're pushing yourself outside your comfort zone. You know?
Yeah, that is, I think, partly what makes a good coach is obviously what's best for the client. Like, you know, especially in this space again, there's certain guys, I don't want to call any names, they would like brag with their lay count or so. It's
That's
like
still going on?
how
Is there
yeah, it's
still
still
people
going.
doing
Still
this?
doing.
Is it
It's
really
like
on?
how does that help your client at all? How many, you know, it's like
I mean, there was some real low lives.
or
back
even
in
the
the day.
girls you have sex with. Like, how does it help them? How does it help the next girl you're trying to connect with? How does your lay count influence that? It
Yeah.
doesn't. You know, you and me, we're doing one-on-one workshops, we're doing group workshops, which is kind of the most efficient way to learn for the client, I would say, because it's
Yeah.
just on the street, as we say, they have us, they get inspired by us, they have our energy, and
But yeah, and
Yes.
but not just our energy.
focus, attention,
Yeah,
personal
our
feedback,
expertise,
right? Yeah.
it's you know, when I look at you do it, like I say, oh man, this guy just performed a miracle.
Yeah.
Like I've done it for people,
Yeah.
but you don't realize as you're the coach that
Mm-hmm.
you know and you're good at it. They like you're literally changing people's
Yeah,
lives.
it's
I think
crazy.
sometimes the guys don't even realize it. They can't. Some guys can't believe. Like there's a guy that you just worked with,
Yeah.
right? And he met one of the most beautiful girls I've seen in all of Barcelona.
Yeah.
And he took her to a party. He had a great conversation with her. He brought her back home, made sweet love with her. He made a connection with this beautiful
I
girl.
heard because I'm in the other room.
Oh, because he's staying with. This was a guy that
Yeah.
you brought into your
Yeah.
home.
Yeah, which is an experiment.
It was
Like
this little experiment. You're
living
doing.
with us for 2 weeks
Yeah.
plus coaching.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I don't want to pitch your program
No,
here.
it's fine.
All right. But the point is that guy, you know, he when he came, he didn't have that going on at all, right? Like you
Yeah.
literally broke him through his blocks, his emotional barriers, his social barriers, and he was having a great life experience. And I was even watching him at that party. Like you guys really gave him a great guides. Like even at the party, he looked like the cool guy. This that. He was able to like. I even saw you coaching like you know how to get you know how to like keep the other guys away and just like this cool way. It was very suave. So what I'm saying is it was like. Um, it was a miracle in some ways for that guy, his life experience. It's like, come on. That, like, and that's just one of many things that we do every day. We're taking a guy who's not talked to anyone outside of the people he knows forever, and then he comes, works with you for a few days, and all of a sudden he's in bed with a beautiful woman and going home like a hero, you know? So this happens all the time. And sometimes it doesn't happen like that. You know, sometimes it's just,
Oh, it takes longer. Like certain we plant seeds, and then 2 years later they're like, "Oh, that's what he meant," or "That's that thing." So another question, because you are very in tune all the time. You're very present. You are in New York City most of the year. You're chatting with people there. We're just coming out of C19 time. The metaverse supposed to be the next big thing. I think more couples now meet online than offline, and obviously
is that true or you think that?
something like that. I can blend it in, but I've read some statistic. Obviously, let's say this: online dating is having new records every year, year by year. More and more people meet online. So, in theory, people are more on their screens. Do you feel a shift in New York, or are people still just as happy to connect as ever before when you actually talk to them on the real life? What's your experience?
Well, this is very interesting because there's been so many, let's just say from 2010 to 2022, there's been so many shifts in humanity, like the Twitter, the Facebook. Then one of the biggest shifts of all time was there was the Tinder.
Tinder, yeah.
Yeah, I remember when Tinder first hit somewhere 13, 14, whatever it was. Like, yeah, it was definitely a lull in the it was like, oh boy, maybe this game's over, you know.
Yeah.
And then it came right back, right? Because what happened is people were swiping. There was an instant hit. I even have a whole theory what happened here. Guys were meeting women. They were showing up. Girls were like all excited. Now they have all this like they can just meet guys on random, and then guys were like, oh, I just saw a girl in her bikini on a thing, and they all just started trying to bang them first date.
Yeah.
A year or two later, all women were angry.
Yeah.
They all hate men now, and then Instagram came, and then the whole game went upside down. So all these changes have happened, and then there was an entire I don't know, you call it the woke movement, call it whatever you want, but there was an entire movement where it felt like there was a lot of negative energy again around men.
Which can be intimidating for guys who are just starting out, right? They're like, "Ooh,
What's
is
intimidating
right
if
to
there's
do?"
a woman staring at you like you're a bad person just because you're you know?
Yeah.
So that's not nice, but it's less real than true.
Mm-hmm.
There was a period of intensity, especially in a city like New York, where there was a lot of that energy going around, and of course on any kind of social media, where everything, if you're overly tuned into any social media stuff about that, your life is gonna be worse off. So like, tune the fuck out. You
Yeah.
know? Just get out of it, because there's always some asshole in an echo chamber that will always be there.
And
Just get
echo
out.
chamber, that's the keyword, right? Like the algorithm will feed you what you already believe in anyway, and then you think it's true. but really it's just the algorithm giving you more because it stays on the app more, makes you engage more.
That's it. And then you'll go to places that reinforce that in life.
Yeah.
Like if you go and hang out in like an area that's near a university that's very woke, then you're gonna get more of that energy.
And
You're
you
gonna
think
see
you're right.
Yeah.
And if one little dude is like, does gives you a little bit of a different energy, you're like, you're wrong because I have proof over months and swipes endless that I'm right. Okay.
Yeah, and there is energy like that in the world, and there is people like that, and um, but the point is through all of that, and
So
it's
street
been a
approach
lot,
dead.
and it's been a lot. I think what was your main question?
If people's reaction to genuine street approaching changed, or it's still kind of the same like it was 15 years ago when you.
It's changed all throughout, yet uh, it's still very powerful. And yet, so I can say like there's been little micro moments where it feels like that.
Yeah.
But the reality is, and I don't even call it street approaching. How about just meeting people, random people in everyday places? Could be
Yeah.
a park, it could be a bookstore, it
Sure.
could be all the little
It's
places
just
we
such
are.
a long explanation.
Yeah,
We
it's
need
a
a
long
word.
explanation. Okay, wait, I like a long explanation. I want everyone to tune in. All right, listen, kid, listen. uh, the point is it's as powerful as ever, and never underestimate when you talk to a stranger that you may have changed their entire day, that they may never forget you. Sometimes, especially if you're doing it 10 times a day as you're doing your thing, that it's actually a very powerful experience for the other person.
Yeah.
Very powerful. Even a beautiful woman who you think's getting approached all the time, when you genuinely connect with her, when you genuinely give her a compliment without trying to take from her, and you have a nice moment with her, it can be a beautiful moment in her day. And then ultimately in your life and her life, when you actually make a connection, and this is something I want to say, I don't know how much longer we're going to go, but I want to say, when you meet someone and connect with them, you go from having nothing. There's nothing. There's just you and her. She's walking by, she's standing in line, I see whatever. And then all of a sudden you make that move. You go past the fear.
Yeah.
And then you make a connection. It can create a new life story.
Yeah.
You have a great night together. You fall in love. You move in together. You break up. You're heartbroken for a year and a half. You get back together. Whatever. But it becomes part of your life story. I met a girl in Barcelona when I was there.
Yeah.
We had a
all
great
have those
week
stories,
together.
right?
Yeah.
It's- yeah,
But it
it's
came
incredible.
from nothing, from taking these
Yes.
risks.
And it's
This week. So when you say that, I just want to say that happens this week. Today, this is happening, not
Yes.
10 years ago. This is happening today. That guy that
We
moved
prove
in
it
with
over and
you
over on the
just
workshop.
happened today. He could not have met that girl online. This is the other thing.
No,
You say,
no
let's
way.
talk about online. Why? Most guys can't meet hot girls online. They're swiping in endless all day. I guess you can do it. Personally, yeah, I'll swipe sometimes. I actually hardly ever meet a girl from online. In fact, I can't remember the last time I did. I met an online date. It's so much better.
I have no chance on today.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. On there, I'll be aged out.
Yeah.
I'll be heighted out. I'll be
Yeah.
bald guyed out.
Yeah.
But in person, women of all ages, they can become attracted to me instantaneously.
Yes.
And I, on the other hand, know if I like them. I also happen to be choosy, by the way, and I can tell if I don't like her voice, I don't like the way she walks, I don't like her skin, I don't like this. You can tell in a microsecond. I don't have to waste $50 on dinner or whatever, and sit across from
2
some
weeks of chatting. with
dull person
flakes,
that she
yeah.
turns out to be. Who
Yes.
cares? I just meet her right now.
Absolutely. And it's my experience as well, even though all those ups and downs, and because I want guys at home to hear this because they might take that as an excuse to not approach, right? Oh, I heard it's not right anymore. I heard one woman once said to one guy, you shouldn't do this. In this country that happened, that they don't even start their process because they heard something and
Right.
they haven't even tried it out. And your experience, my experience, our experience on the workshops, our students' experiences this week proves otherwise. And I hear it every day on the microphone when I'm listening in. Girls saying, thanks for doing this. I have a boyfriend, but thanks so much. You made my day. Oh, I'm married, but you should keep going. This is great, right? And other girls, yes, here's my number. Yes, I'm free tomorrow. Oh my God, right? And then, as you say, the girl with the guy who lives with us, she's not on Tinder. He wouldn't have met her on Tinder either. He would be, yeah, just not getting it. And I think it will always stay special, no matter what technology is coming along, because it's just the realest form. It's like man meets woman.
It's the most human. Yeah, it's the realest form. It will always be in our lifetime. And here's the other thing. We have so much like appearing to be changing all the time. It's changing, it's changing. You know, that's kind of the narrative we're fed all day. We're going to
We're
become
still humans.
we're going to become artificial intelligence. We're
Yeah.
going to all this
We live in the
re-
metaverse.
Yeah, even the metaverse, all this stuff. It's
Oh,
like there's nothing more powerful than taking a walk and enjoying the breeze against your skin and the sun and all of those things. And there's nothing more powerful than really meeting and connecting with a beautiful stranger anywhere and everywhere. And for you to put yourself in that situation and challenge yourself to become the best you can be, really, it doesn't just go from, hey, I approached a beautiful woman. It's like, oh, it teaches you, like we said, go back to my old buddy, John Garrett. Have interests and passions. What are they? And be able to talk about them. The attraction formula. Be interesting and interested. How do you be interesting? You have interests and you are able to verbally share them. And a lot of guys have interests. Like I'll meet guys that they just don't. I didn't know they were interesting at all. I'm sitting. You got to pull it out of them. Oh, you
Right.
do that. That's now all of a sudden you see there's a picture here, and also you don't just have to be interested in things you think girls are interested in. Be interested in things you're genuinely interested in and be able to share about them. And then with enthusiasm, and the girls you're connecting with will really want to learn about it. And then to be interested, you got to be curious about her, like actually genuinely know who she is, like actually really, not just so you can get laid, but
Yeah.
because you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, so being able, when you do this process, you have to learn to be a better person, learn to really like be a guy who lives his life and leads his own life, and that's hard for a lot of people to really develop a life, or at least be able to. And no matter where you're at in life, if you're saying, oh, I don't have any interest and passions, you do really be able to talk about them, or you start getting into something small and being able to tell stories about it. But I wanted to ask you a question.
All right.
No, because this is really important. You are a good role model for people who really create their own reality. And the process is like you have certain visions that you wanted to achieve. There was something you wanted to be able to do, and you just went for it over and over and over again. Like you just don't stop, right? And you're great at creating your own reality and being decisive. I noticed you're very decisive. You make it, which is a masculine trait. Very decisive, which is one of the top qualities of all leaders. Very decisive, and you make moves. Even your tattoos, it's a decision. I said I'm doing it. You make more tattoos, right? It's a decision to, hey, I'm gonna get involved with these TNL guys because James Marshall and Liam and the gang, they really are someone that I want to learn from. And even though I'm just had a Starbucks job or whatever it was, I have some other skills, and I'm gonna go offer them, right? Like you came and you did that, then you got involved, and you actually helped grow the TNL business throughout that process,
Yeah.
and then you learned tons and tons and tons, and then you became good yourself. From that process, you became a good in meeting and connecting with women and all the things, and had great experiences, and then. Because you're a cool guy, you just vibed in with everybody, and then we could talk about what does it mean to be a cool guy for sure. But some guys just don't have. Just some guys just aren't somebody you want to hang out with. So
Yeah.
there is something, and that those guys need to know so that they become someone you want to
So
hang
they
out with.
can work on it.
Yeah,
Because you can.
because you
Yeah.
can, and that's
Yeah.
the biggest thing. But my point right now is then you went on and you created Tilted, right? You created things you were interested in, and you created a great lifestyle for yourself that you wanted, right? Maybe
Yes.
not everybody wants your lifestyle,
No.
but it's a cool lifestyle, and it's a lifestyle that a lot of people like to be a part of. And I think all guys should think about, when I meet a woman, what's the lifestyle I'm bringing her? Don't put yourself down. What's the lifestyle I'm bringing her into? Uh, you know, bring her into what? Like, what is my lifestyle? Like, so think about that, because women don't want a rich guy. They don't. It's not. I want a rich guy. Women love rich guys. They want a guy who gives them experiences.
Yeah.
Maybe he takes her out to cool galas and dances. Maybe he just takes her to cool concerts. Maybe just they go on walks and go to the park and eat at vegan cafes and sit back and chill on the back patio and have conversations. Whatever it is, maybe they take little upstate trips and go hiking on the weekend. It's just like whatever the lifestyle is, you're bringing a girl into that, and certain girls are going to be attracted to that. But if your lifestyle is sitting at home swiping on Tinder and watching Netflix only, then that's not a lifestyle that you're going to feel good about, or that girls are going to be like, wow, I want to be part of you swiping and watching Netflix, you know? So it's just something to think about. What is my lifestyle? It has nothing to do with money. It could be I go to shows. It could be I work out. I love to do yoga. I love to meditate. I love to travel. Whatever it is, just think about it. But the point is, you created a great lifestyle for yourself from all that. You had options. You could have been an airline pilot. You could have done this. You could have done that. But you really went in and did that. What do you think are the main things? Like, I'm not your personality type, right? But I do pick up some of your traits, and there's no doubt that some of the things you do are work for anybody. So what are those things that you think took you from a guy who was who just wanted to get good at women and figure out his way
Yeah.
to becoming a top coach, working for a top company, and
Charging top dollar.
charging top dollar, working with the top guys, dating the top girl,
Yeah.
right?
Top guy.
Yeah. How did you do it? So, what are some of the traits though that guys could embody from that? And I'm not trying to blow smoke up your butt, but that's a very admirable thing to go from that to that, and then to get the respect. Like, you could still just be like, "Hey, Alex, go edit this," right?
Yeah.
Like, and you were able to do all those things, do them well, and then grow at the same time, really without getting egoic about it.
Well, thank you. I mean, to be honest, the first thought that comes to my mind is that I didn't do it alone. That I know my strengths, which is building systems, planning. If we talk about Tilted, I'm the guy who built the Instagram, who had the vision of how it should look, and then had the vision of, we need bikinis, because the bikinis, there will be a logo on it. So found the factory that produces that, and if the logo is it and the photo gets shared, so it will lead back to us, and then there will be a link, and then somebody will apply. So that whole logic of how can we even attract people into it, well, through attention, right? But then there's so many things that I don't know how to do. And the same with seduction. Like, I had an idea, I was charming, I have some charm, but all the stuff you described, well, I knew James knows a lot, way more than me, so I have to work with James, right? So I learned a lot from him. And then there was Liam, who at the beginning I was, who's that wacky dude?
Right.
And then I realized, oh my God, this guy's a genius in so many other things. So many things that I've, first of all, don't know anything about, and probably will never be as good as him at it. So working with Liam on Tilted, and just, I guess that's also kind of like a good, good leaders realize they can't do it all, and they are ready to collaborate with people who just accept this guy's just better at this than me, right? And then working together, that's how I definitely got further. Like, without James, I would have never be good at seduction or coaching. Without Liam, I couldn't have built Tilted, right? And so on. So it's always, and then you could think that further, like, without whoever developed microphones, we couldn't have a podcast and spread it into a world, without somebody making YouTube and so on. So definitely there's a lot of collaboration. And so that's one thing. Another aspect is, I don't know how that came about, but just like not giving a fuck because obviously you could talk me down a lot as well. Oh, this superficial guy only cares about women, right? Oh, moves to the east, isn't that where all the strippers come from? Oh, he doesn't even want to pay taxes in Austria. That's why he left. You could say a lot of negative shit about me, and
Sounds like you got some dark shit going on there.
and probably a lot of people do, right? Like,
No,
I'm
is there somebody who's
sure.
doing that? I never heard anyone say that about you.
I don't care.
I never thought about that about you.
No,
Go
because
ahead.
you're vibing around me, but I mean people who only see me on the screen, or maybe people who went to school with me when I was 16.
Oh, I see.
Like they have
Maybe they're a little jealous.
absolutely,
Yeah.
very jealous.
Yeah,
because my
because
life is amazing.
Yeah.
But those voices, I don't care. Especially from those people, I care more when it comes from very close people like parents and
Right.
siblings. But it never stopped me. Is my point. That
Yeah.
never stopped me because those
Yeah.
voices will always be there.
Yeah.
The better your life becomes, there will always be hater. The more people look at you, there will always be more and more people who have something against you, right? Like for example, there was this great example that I actually like was interesting to hear. Like when Andrew Tate kind of got canceled 2 or 3 weeks ago, this guy blew up completely.
Yeah, I never heard of him honestly till he got
Okay.
canceled.
Yeah,
and
whatever.
And then I still don't
One
care.
one interesting thing he said in like one of the last videos was like, if you have like a strong opinion about something, and maybe 2% of people don't like what you're saying, and you talk to 100 people, that's 2 people who don't like what you're saying, right? So let's say you have you talk to 100 people, or you talk in front of 100 people. Okay, 2 people, whatever, right? Or you have a podcast and you have 1,000 listeners, and 20 people are like, I don't like what this guy's saying. Okay, 20 people doesn't matter. But imagine, and you're saying the same thing every time. Now you're saying the same thing not in front of 1,000 people, but let's say you get 10 million views, and you're saying the same thing that you said that was totally okay in front of 100 people, in front of 1,000 people, but now you're saying it in front of 10 million people. Now there is 2% of 10 million, which is 200,000 people who don't like what you're saying.
Yeah, right.
That's now a movement against you. Those 200,000 people can, fucking call Facebook to take you down. They can write articles about you.
Wow,
Da, da, da.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the exact
That's
same
what
thing.
happened,
You
yeah.
didn't change. You said the same thing for 10 years. But 10 years ago, 100 people listened. 2 people were a little bit annoyed. Now you say the same thing. 200,000 people are like, fuck this guy. He's horrible, right?
Yeah, right.
So that was interesting to hear as a side note why people get canceled. Because they have actually been saying the same thing for 10 years, but now they just blew up. And the 2% who doesn't like them just becomes such a big number. But anyway, I didn't let the voices stop me. I guess that's what it is as well. I didn't, oh, that's cringe to talk to girls. Oh, it's that. Oh, it's superficial to create a bikini brand. Oh, I'm like, yeah, it is a little cringy. Yeah, it is a little superficial. Like I always like agree and move on. I didn't pick fights. I
That's
didn't try to,
Yeah.
convince somebody. I think that's what kept me going as well.
Yeah, and you were able to transcend that voice in your head. But so those were the negative voices that we all have. You have them even inside of you, right?
Yeah.
And the same with what we were talking about earlier, with a lot of guys saying, "Well, because like people, is it bad to talk to women? Is it this and that?" And the reality is, if you're approaching people with good vibes, good energy, and you really mean well, it's good to talk to people.
Yeah.
Someone can take it a wrong way, but you don't mean it wrong, and you can just move on and go talk to other people. But generally, when you get good at approaching people, people like it. Most
Yeah,
people are nice.
absolutely.
That doesn't mean they're going to date you, all of them.
98%.
But most people are nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but the thing I wanted to say was, what were so there were the negative voices, but as you were creating Tilted, as you were, becoming the coach, what were the things that drove you forward? Like not the things that were telling you not to, but what were, like, when you wanted Tilted? What were you thinking? I want to have this amazing lifestyle. I want to be surrounded by beautiful places and women and cool friends. What were you thinking?
That we only have one life,
Right.
and I might as well treat it as a game and see what level I can reach,
Wow, that's amazing.
because we're all gonna die anyway. Even if we
Speak
become
for yourself.
really powerful
Yeah.
and influential and rich, within a couple of generations, nothing matters anyway. Kind of. Sure, you can leave a legacy and all that, but whatever. I probably won't. And so I just see it as a game.
It's very
And
interesting.
let's have fun. Let's see what that is about. And it's just like, um, you see the yachts and you see this and you see the beautiful models, and it's like, why not me?
Right.
Let's see
Yeah.
what it's all about, and not like thinking, oh, that's the end goal, and just like, but I want to know what is behind that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And just seeing that it's possible. Like every time I put my mind to something, it became reality, coupled with hard work. Like, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, just
Yeah.
writing only in your diary without then grinding for
Yeah.
12 hours a day won't
I don't
get you
like the
there.
word grinding. Can we come
All
up
right.
with a new word? How about I just don't like it, man. It sounds so hard. Grinding. It just really wears me out.
Without
Yeah, I'm
discipline.
grinding away. Time to make the donuts.
Well, it is. When you ask me how I got
Yeah, I
there.
know, but you do it. You do it. But
Yeah.
I mean, as
So,
for let's see.
and then yeah, just I saw my life just got better and better and more fun, and I got more things that are just incredible, and more people paid attention, and were just like, oh, how do you do that? And that's fun. So it just works. I don't know, like my combination of hard work and manifestation works, and I do see life a bit as a game, and I wanna explore every aspect of it. And I have other visions that I will do when I'm 40, when I'm 50, when I'm 60. Now my focus is on my coaching brand and helping a lot of guys, and obviously building wealth for myself, because I want to have freedom and wealth. I don't need money to get women. I don't think, as you say, I don't think that plays a role. But I want money to be free, to move around in case things get more locked up. I don't know.
Oh fuck.
Is
Well,
that-
that's good. No,
does that
I
make
mean,
sense?
what you're saying is, so then we're gonna bring it back to, so what you're saying, like I'm very interested in the topic because I've witnessed it, So, and so is all the people watching, generally,
Yeah.
at least on some level. So, but when we first bring it back down to the street, man on the street, just some guy with an overwhelming desire to meet and connect with beautiful women, to have beautiful, deep experiences with lovely human beings, you know, who wants to
know.
have sex, who wants to have love, who wants to be loved as he walks, who wants to adore and be adored, and simply all start saying hello. But it starts with a vision. And I think you can become, and a lot of guys get stuck only in the negative. I feel, they call it approach anxiety. It's really just a resistance. I feel resistance to just say hi. So they only get stuck. All they can think about is saying hi forever. That's it. They can't think past that. They can't think, and this is the thing, like, and if you allow yourself to think past it and have the vision of you, with a beautiful, loving woman looking at you in the eyes and saying, I love the color of your eyes. Like a girl said to me today, beautiful girl, looked me in the eyes, made me uncomfortable. She looked me in the eyes, she said, you have green eyes. And I was like, I do have green eyes. A lot of people thought they were brown, but they are green. No, but I felt like, wow, this girl's looking in my eyes because she's attracted to me, and she's looking in my eyes, telling me I have green eyes, and she's a beautiful woman. And how did that happen? Vision. I had the vision. I've been visioning it out. I think about it. I've been thinking past saying hi. I've done a lot of work on myself. I've done all kinds of things. But the point is you have to imagine yourself. I challenge every guy here to imagine a pretty girl. Think of the prettiest girl you can think of right now. And think of her, you standing outside in the sun is shining in. Think of her saying to you, you have beautiful eyes. Like imagine that feeling, experiencing that, vision that. Imagine that same girl, you and her laying in bed naked together, and her saying, wow, you look like, what a great night, or I just love the way you touch me.
Because the thing is, when somebody tells you have beautiful eyes, really what it means is I like you. Because everybody has beautiful eyes. Eyes
that's
aren't.
true.
There's like with a nose, there's a beautiful nose, but with eyes, they're all beautiful if
Yeah.
they are a portal into your soul.
That's right. Well, it's true.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Maybe my response was wrong then.
Oh, what do you say?
I said you have really nice nostrils.
Oh man.
Is that so I got
I got away with it,
back
right?
to back to coaching tour too. Okay.
And that vision, I love it. And sticking with the vision during hard times, because I'm sure you had hard times. We didn't go through it in this podcast.
Right.
I, of course, had my downs. And then being like, all right, like, I feel sad. Well, let's feel sad for a little bit. And then we're like, all right, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Right? Not stopping.
Yeah, and there's a lot to it. And the truth is, whether you call it grinding or just focusing, I'm going to focus so many hours a day on this project, on this thing. The project is self-creation, right? The point is that I really want to drive home that we're extracting out of your process is you are a visionary, and this is something. I have a vision, and then you create it and you work on it. So, and that's the reality of I've seen with all people who are successful in anything is they have a vision, and then they work around it. The work doesn't always have to feel like grinding. I can feel.
No, for me, it doesn't. Yeah,
For
I
me,
don't.
it feels like flowing. You know.
Yeah.
But it is important to take energy and put it towards your vision. Put energy around your vision. Put actions and try to feel good energy around that vision. But so I think when it comes down to meeting women on the street, put energy around it. Imagine yourself, guys, literally imagine yourself walking up to beautiful women and saying hi and them saying hi back. Like instead of they're going to shoot your head off or all of a sudden you're going to say hi and the girl's going to lift her armpit and there's going to be all this hair there and she's going to say, "Get away from me, you subhuman man," or you're going to go you're going to walk up to her and all of a sudden all this hair is going to sprout out of her legs and then she's going to look over to you and say what did I say? I don't know. Yeah. Whatever that, like, there's somebody in our head like that, you know? And it's like, but instead, imagine you walking up and you're saying hi, and she says hi. And you're saying, "Oh, well, how's your day going?" "Oh, it's going good." Just imagine it. It doesn't even have to be an interesting conversation, but just imagine it going well. Allow yourself to imagine that over and over and over again. That why wouldn't people be nice to me? I'm a good person. I'm coming from a good place. Why wouldn't another human being want to have a conversation with me? And imagine it over and over going well. And that is the power of visualization and then going and practicing it.
All right. It's a good point to end, I think.
I think it is.
All right.
Yeah.
That was a fun conversation.
It was a great conversation.
Thanks for the hat, by the way.
Oh, yes.
I like that hat.
Looks great on
New York.
him. Look better on him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It says
so-
daddy. I don't know
Yeah,
if you
it
see.
says daddy.
It's kind of, I can pull it off.
You could pull it. Well, you could pull. Wait, you saying I can't? No.
No,
The truth
for
is,
yours.
I felt, to be honest, I felt a little creepy. Like,
Yeah.
maybe it's just that there's extra
you, it's
couple
implied
years, it
already
felt,
that
yeah,
you're a
like
daddy.
now all of a sudden, yeah.
You
yeah,
don't
it's like-
also have to put it
yeah,
on your forehead.
Yeah,
That's what
so
I mean.
that's what you're saying.
All right,
Yeah, I
good.
see what you're saying.
All right. Thanks.
All right, excellent. Anyway, guys, thanks for having me. Until the next time.
Yo, thanks for watching. And before you head off, I quickly want to remind you once more about my free Discord community, which means you can join a big tribe of other men who also want to work on their seduction skills, who want to work on their lifestyle, who want to have a better, cooler, sexier, more interesting life. So join for free, click the link below. Make sure to give value because you will get value in return. And I see you in the next video.